Life can be hard and unpredictable. But there's an ancient way of thinking that can help us become stronger and more resilient. It's called Stoicism. This isn't just a philosophy to study, it's a practical way to live. It teaches us how to become mentally unshakable. The key idea is simple. Life's challenges aren't just things that happen to us. They're opportunities to grow stronger. Every problem, setback, or disappointment is a chance to learn and become better than before. Let us begin. 1. Managing our emotions. Finding inner peace. Strong emotions like anger, fear, jealousy, and resentment can make us suffer and cloud our judgment. They're like heavy weights that drag us down and steal our peace of mind. But the ancient Stoics had a helpful way of dealing with emotions. Instead of trying to push them away, which doesn't work, they taught us to understand and move beyond them. As Marcus Aurelius, who was both a Roman emperor and a philosopher, simply said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This teaches us that we can learn to handle our emotions better. 2. Deal with difficult emotions. We need to understand where they really come from. Our feelings don't just happen because of what's going on around us. They come from how we think about what's happening. For example, when someone says something mean to us, what really hurts isn't their words, but our belief that their opinion matters so much. When we fail at something, we feel bad not because of the failure itself, but because we're stuck on one way of seeing success. If we look closely at these thoughts and start questioning them, our emotions won't control us as much. It's like being an ocean. While there might be waves on the surface, deep down we can stay calm and peaceful, no matter what's happening around us. Consider this story of personal transformation after divorce. A man was going through a really tough time after his marriage ended. He felt completely lost and angry. These bad feelings were so strong that they affected everything in his life, his work, his friendships, and how he felt each day. But then something changed when he learned about Stoicism, an ancient way of thinking. These teachings became like a guiding light for him during this difficult time. Instead of just getting temporary relief from his pain, he found a lasting sense of peace. As he practiced these Stoic ideas, he started seeing his divorce differently. Instead of viewing it as just a sad ending, he began to see it as a chance to grow and learn about himself. He learned to look at his thoughts more carefully and accept the things he couldn't change. Today, he's doing more than just getting by. He's really happy. He's built a new life that truly fits who he is and what matters to him. His story shows us how powerful it can be when we change the way we look at our problems. 2. The Invincible Mind, the power of perception. The Stoics believed in a simple but powerful idea. While we can't control what happens in the world around us, we can control how we think about it and respond to it. This wisdom has been passed down through history and teaches us how to become mentally strong. As Epictetus, who went from being a slave to becoming a great philosopher, simply put it, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When we learn to control how we see things, we gain real power over our lives. Think about being in the middle of a powerful storm. There's lightning, thunder, and heavy rain all around you. Most people would see this as scary and dangerous, something to run away from. But looking at it through Stoic wisdom, we can see it differently, as an amazing display of nature that we can admire and respect. The storm itself hasn't changed, but our relationship with it has. This shows us how powerful our perception can be. When we stop automatically labeling things as good or bad, they lose their power to upset us. We become truly strong, not because life stops challenging us, but because we've learned to face challenges without fear. We stay calm during life's storms, not by avoiding them, but by changing how we see them. Here's a simple example that shows this idea in action. During the economic downturn, someone lost their job. Instead of feeling hopeless, they saw it as a chance to try something new. They started their own small business, something they had always wanted to do but were too scared to try before. Now they're doing well financially, and more importantly, they're happy doing work they love. By changing how they looked at their situation, they turned what seemed like bad luck into something positive. 3. The discipline of desire. Learning to be content. Our modern world constantly tells us we need more things to be happy, more money for security, more status to feel important, and more approval from others to feel good about ourselves. It's like being stuck in a cycle that plays on our fears and makes us always want more. But the ancient Stoic philosophers saw through this trap. They knew that always wanting more only leads to unhappiness, as the wise philosopher Seneca simply put it. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. This teaches us something important. True wealth isn't about how much stuff we own. It's about not being controlled by the constant desire for more. Real happiness comes when we learn to appreciate what we already have, instead of always chasing after what we don't have. To become truly unfuckwithable, we need to change how we handle our wants and desires. This isn't about giving up on our dreams or settling for less. It's about being smarter about what we chase after. Instead of wanting things we can't control, we should focus on what we can, building our character, staying true to our values, and putting in honest effort. Think of a mid-aged woman who spent years chasing promotions and accolades, only to find herself burnt out and disconnected from her family. She decided to step back, focusing on her relationships and personal growth. By aligning her desires with what truly mattered, she found a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace, realizing that her worth was not tied to her job title. When we make this change, something amazing happens. We stop desperately seeking other people's approval, and this makes us mentally stronger. Insults don't hurt us anymore, because we're not worried about what others think. People can't manipulate us because we're not afraid of being rejected. This kind of freedom doesn't come from having everything we want. Instead, it comes from understanding that what we already have inside us, our principles, self-respect, and inner peace, is enough. We become free not by getting more stuff, but by choosing to be happy with who we are right now. 4. Understanding death to live better. Memento Mori. The Stoics had a helpful way of thinking about death. Instead of seeing it as something scary, They used it as a reminder to live better. They called this practice Memento Mori, which means remember that you will die. This wasn't meant to make people sad or afraid. Instead, it helped them focus on what really matters in life. When we truly understand that our time is limited, we stop worrying so much about small problems, like minor arguments or temporary setbacks. Instead, we focus on important things like being good people, staying true to ourselves, and doing meaningful work. Think about standing at the edge of a cliff and looking out at a vast view. As you stand there, you might hear a quiet voice reminding you, this is your life. This is all you have. When we think about life this way, something amazing happens. All our old grudges, worries, and fears start to fade away. What we find instead is a clear sense of purpose and courage. Courage to live fully, to love deeply, and to act bravely even when we're uncertain. Understanding that we won't live forever doesn't make life less valuable. Instead, it makes each moment more precious and encourages us to make every day count. We're like brief dancers in life's grand performance. And knowing this helps us appreciate each moment and live more meaningfully. Here's a simple but powerful story about Michael, a busy business leader who had a heart attack when he was 45. This scary event changed his life completely. While recovering, he took time to think deeply about what really mattered to him. He made a brave choice to leave his stressful job that had taken up 20 years of his life. Instead of working long hours for the next promotion, he chose to spend more time with his family. He started reconnecting with his children and rebuilding the close relationships that had suffered during years of working 80-hour weeks. The biggest change came when he returned to something he had always loved: painting. He had given up this passion after college, thinking it wasn't practical. During his recovery, he started small, just making simple sketches. Over time, he got better at his art, and now paints beautiful landscapes in his home studio every morning. His close call with death did more than just change his job. It changed how he lived his whole life. It helped him see clearly what truly made his life meaningful and worth living. 5. The unfuckwithable soul, living with good values. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that living a good life means following strong values. These values are simple but powerful: using good judgment, being fair to others, showing courage, and making wise choices. These aren't just fancy ideas. They're the building blocks of a meaningful life. Being a good person isn't something you achieve once and forget about. Instead, it's something you practice every day, in every choice you make. As the Stoic teacher Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This means your actions should match the kind of person you want to be. Living with good values means being honest and true to yourself. You do the right thing not because others are watching, but because it's what you believe in. You stay strong when things get tough, like a rock that doesn't move in the wind. You tell the truth even when lying would be easier, and you show kindness even when others don't. When we live this way, we become truly unfuckwithable. This doesn't mean we become cold or hard. Instead, we become strong because we know who we are and what we stand for. Our self-worth comes from our character, the kind of person we are deep down. When we build this kind of character through making good choices every day, we become as strong as steel, able to handle whatever life throws at us. 6. The dichotomy of control. Understanding what you can control. The Stoics taught us something very simple but powerful. In life, there are only two types of things. Things we can control and things we can't. They understood that we can control our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. But we can't control things like the weather, what other people think, or past events. As the philosopher Epictetus simply said, some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power, our opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. This basic idea is at the heart of Stoic wisdom and personal strength. To become truly unshakable, we need to focus our energy only on what we can control and accept what we can't. This doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. Instead, it means being clear about where to put our effort. When we stop trying to control things we can't, we feel a great sense of relief and freedom. Think of it like an archer practicing their sport. A good archer focuses only on what they can control. Their posture, their breathing, and their aim. They don't worry about the wind or where the target might move, because they can't control these things. They do their best with what they can control and accept whatever happens next. This simple but powerful idea, knowing what we can and can't, control and acting accordingly, is the key to finding inner peace and true strength. 7. The power of Amor Fati. Learning to accept life as it is. Amor Fati means love of fate. It's about accepting and even loving everything that happens in our lives. Instead of fighting against life's events, we learn to welcome them with open arms. Think of it as seeing every experience, good or bad, as something valuable that helps us grow. It's like being given a gift, even when that gift doesn't look the way we expected. Nietzsche, a famous thinker who studied Stoic ideas, put it simply, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." When we practice Amor Fati, we start to see difficult situations differently. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" we think, "What can I learn from this?" It's like saying to yourself, "This challenge is exactly what I need right now to become stronger." When we think this way, something amazing happens. We start turning our problems into opportunities. Every setback becomes a chance to grow, like a tree that grows stronger after surviving a storm. This way of thinking doesn't just help us deal with problems, it changes how we see life itself. We start to see that everything that happens, whether it feels good or bad at first, can teach us something valuable and help us become better people. 8. Planning for hard times. A simple but powerful practice. The Stoics had a helpful way to get ready for life's challenges. They would take time to think about difficult things that might happen in their lives. This practice is called premeditatio malorum, which means thinking about difficulties ahead of time. It's like mental practice for tough situations. Instead of making us worried or anxious, this practice helps make our minds stronger. One famous Stoic teacher named Seneca explained, "It's simply Rehearse in your mind exile, torture, war, shipwreck. All the terms of our human lot should be before our eyes. The goal isn't to make ourselves sad or scared. It's to be better prepared for whatever life throws at us. When we take time to think about possible challenges before they happen, something interesting happens. They become less scary. It's like a football player who practices before the big game. By the time they're on the field, they feel ready, because they've already gone through the moves in practice. 9. The discipline of action, doing the right thing. Stoicism isn't just about thinking and reflecting. It's about taking action and being fully involved in life. The ancient Stoics knew that being a good person isn't just about having good thoughts. It's about doing good things in our daily lives. As Marcus Aurelius simply put it, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This means we shouldn't just talk about being good. We should actually do it. To become mentally strong and unshakable, we need to do what's right, even when it's hard. This means standing up for what's right, even when others don't. Doing our duties well, especially when we don't feel like it. Making good choices every day, not just when it's easy. When we live this way, turning our beliefs into actions, we become like a strong tree with deep roots. Nothing can knock us down. We build our character by making good choices every day, even in tough situations. The more we practice this, the stronger we become. Stoicism is a practical way of living that takes work and dedication. It asks us to be brave, disciplined, and honest with ourselves. But the benefits are worth it. When we follow these teachings, we become stronger mentally and emotionally. We learn to control our thoughts and stay calm, even when life gets difficult. This way of living isn't easy, and it's not for everyone. It's for people who are willing to look at themselves honestly, face their fears, and work on becoming better. It's for those who want to take charge of their lives instead of feeling like victims of bad luck. Life will always have challenges. Hard times will come. But by following these ideas, we can stay strong through anything. Not because nothing can hurt us, but because we've learned how to handle difficulties better. This is what Stoicism teaches us. This is how we become mentally and emotionally unshakable. Are you ready to try this way of life? If you found these insights helpful, like this video and subscribe to Stoic Atlas for more timeless lessons in wisdom and personal growth.